By August 1916, Letov had become expert at his cat-and-mouse game.
Von Letov is slippery and is not going to be caught by manoeuvre. He knows the country better than we do. I think we're in for an expensive hide-and-seek, and von Letov will still be cuckooing somewhere in tropical Africa when the ceasefire goes. Smuts has cost Britain many hundreds of lives and many millions of pounds.
Letov ran his force of up to 15,000 soldiers, mostly black, on scrounging and improvisation. No supplies from Germany reached him after March 1916, but he made a little go a long way, as Ludwig Deppe, one of his medical officers, noted.
When there was no ammunition, Letov would try to produce his own cartridges. If the men asked the commander for weapons or clothes, they were told, "Take it from the enemy." Letov made war at cost price. You'd have been justified in displaying this war at a country fair with a for sale sign. Cheapest war in the world.
Yanni Smuts had 5 times Letov's force and resources to match. But the further he went into German East Africa, the more stretched his supply lines. And he reckoned without the killer tsetse fly. The life expectancy for his 50,000 horses was just 4 weeks. Torrential rain, mud, dust and boiling heat further slowed his progress. Intelligence was sketchy, maps inadequate. Telephone cable often had to be raised to 8 meters to avoid damage by giraffes.
This is like warfare of bygone days. We come along where no road had ever been, where probably white man had never trod before. The river is in flood and we can't get across. On the other side, the German patrols are watching us, but the crocodile hold the peace between us very successfully.
Letov played with Smuts, refusing to fight, slipping away, luring him deeper into Africa. As they went, they spread the war's grief and destruction, dragging in more and more of the people of Africa. This war was being carried on the backs of black Africans. For the Letov campaign alone, the British recruited over 1 million black porters. 1 in 5 died from malnutrition and disease, death rates comparable with those on the Western Front.
They endured their ordeal quietly. They only had duties and hardly any rights. They tumbled into the splashing mud with their heavy loads and were then ruthlessly forced to move on and catch up.
Oh, the Lindy Road was dusty and the Lindy Road was long. But the chap what did the hardest graft, who could not do but wrong, was the Cavarondo porter with his Cavarondo song. It was, "Come here, porter." It was, "Amera, here, get." And Amera didn't grumble. He simply did his bit.
What Smuts saves on the battlefield, he loses in hospital. But it's Africa and the climate we're really fighting, not the Germans.
Out of 20,000 South Africans, over half were invalided home by the beginning of 1917. They were replaced by black troops from Nigeria and Ghana. Recruitment of blacks soared in East Africa as well. Over the course of the war, the King's African Rifles rose from 3,000 men to 35,000. Fuloliani Longwe spoke for many black soldiers.
Think of yourself buried in a hole with only your head and hands outside, holding a gun, death smelling all over the place. Listen to the sound of exploding bombs and machine guns, smoke all over, and the vegetation burnt, and of course deforested. Watch your relatives getting killed, crying, finally dead. These things we did, experienced, and saw.
Letov survived undefeated to the very end, marching triumphantly through Berlin in 1919.